Wake up, Juju. Time to go to work.
All right, can we talk about
Wake up, I get it, I get it. Wake up, I get it, I go. With everyone saying I'm up next. It's not my fault if the vocals are gold. They're making the haters so upset. My life is a movie, the way that I roll. They saying I'm goofy, but baby, you know I'm making everybody obsessed. Cause we the best, how we get wrecked, and I know we gonna get bread, we gonna get bread. We gonna get bread, we gonna get bread. We gonna get bread, we gonna get bread.
We're going with
I don't know what possessed me to do it, but like I was really into Kuroko no Basketball, and like, you know, sports anime is like, okay, like, and I'm a basketball player, so I was like, yeah, it's but then I said, let me see about this volleyball one, and bro, that shit makes me love volleyball.
Just
so
volleyball?
Much. It's volleyball.
Dude, they gotta make like a pickleball one now.
Honestly,
you gotta extend it to everyone.
Honestly, I would love a pickleball anime.
Yeah,
that would be so intense.
It's such a cinematic sport.
I'm so deep into Haikyuu. I have a Haikyuu pre-workout.
What?
You want Blake?
Yes. Yes. Honestly, like a lot of my workout playlist is like anime like songs.
Yeah, that's gotta get you.
It goes, especially My Hero's You Say Run. Woo! Like we're gonna here, pause. We're gonna play the song really quick. Yes, editor. Play the best part of the song. Anyway, just like it's gonna be me. What's up, man? Juju Green, a.k.a. Straw Hat Goofy. Today we have a very special guest, Griffin Santopeitro, who plays Anthony LaRusso in the hit series on Netflix, Cobra Kai. And we're going to be talking about some Cobra Kai Part 1.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's finally out, so we can talk about it.
It's finally out. We can do spoilers now. I think like it's been enough time, like 2 weeks.
Yeah, no,
now?
I mean, you watch that show in like one day, dude. It's like,
Dude.
so you just go right through it. Yeah.
I speed ran that like season.
Yeah, no, I think it's good that they're splitting it up.
Yeah.
Because people would have been done by it.
Yeah, but then there's also like the drawback of like, it's 5 episodes. Give me more.
Right, exactly. Yeah. We should have done like 30 episodes or something. Just to
well, you should have did 30 episodes.
Right, yeah.
It's all on you. So I'm blaming you
I'll
for
try to
that.
bring it back. Yeah.
Okay, please do that. But as you know, we had Jacob Bertrand on the show just a couple of weeks ago talking like before the season was out. Really excited about it. Anticipation was high. Now that it's out, what I want to say, man, is like I'm very just proud of what you've done with your character of Anthony. Like you have come so far. What I want to let's like dial it back a little bit. You've been on Cobra Kai since the beginning.
Yeah. I was 11 years old when I started. Yeah.
Jesus. And we'll get a photo up in the edit here, but you look very different.
Yeah. I was 11 and I turned 18 on this season.
Oh my gosh.
People thought it was like I was a different actor. Actually, I was just in the airport yesterday and some kid was asking me about the old kid that played Anthony LaRusso. I was like, that's me. Dude.
I'm
That's
the old
like,
kid.
I just grew up. It hasn't been actually 1 year, dude. But yeah, I mean, it's just been the longest journey, and it's over.
That's
crazy,
insane. So when people like come up to you like on the street and they like talk to you about kind of Cobra Kai, do you often get questions about the old kid, and how does that feel?
No, that was usually the one. I get like a lot of varying things. It's usually all great, but then every now and then I'll have like a group of middle schoolers just call me Lapusso from like across the street.
No.
Like I wasn't even talking to you, dude. And so like I just get like heckled every now and then, which is fine. But for the most part, people have figured it out that it's me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't blame them.
Honestly, it's like that. Are you familiar with How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah.
So you know, obviously Billy Zabka is in the show as himself, but there's like that whole thing of Barney liking the villain of.
Right, yeah.
The Karate Kid. So in a way, there's people who are kind of like siding with your tormentor in the show, and like
totally
Lapusso.
Yeah. People think that I still deserve it. I'm like, I think Kenny's gotten me back pretty well.
Like honestly, I think you've gotten it back since the toilet bowl.
The toilet. That's what I'm telling people. The toilet was the worst one by far, and I'm still getting it.
I, as a guy who used to be bullied a lot, right? Like when I saw you, I was bullying Kenny. I was like, damn, that sucks. Like, I hope you get your ass kicked.
Right.
But in moderation, right? It's like, hey, maybe in a tournament, maybe Kenny will get one good lick in on you, and that's it.
Yeah, he raised me tenfold.
It got egregious.
Yeah,
like,
it was pretty bad. Yeah, no, I'm like, is this kid not traumatized at this point? Like,
honestly, I'm surprised.
Exactly. I'm not going to karate. I'll go to therapy instead.
Yeah, but it's like what I really liked about your character progression, and I think Cobra Kai has like some of the best character progressions in TV, because it's so easy to get repetitive of oh, one person's a good guy, one person's a
Right.
bad guy, and is switching back and forth. But it's not really that simple, right? And with your character, you start off as this kind of iPad kid
Right,
who
yeah.
makes a lot of like comments about other things. And then it's revealed that LaRusso is now the bully, which I feel
Right,
what
yeah.
Cobra Kai does really well is they subvert expectations on who's what and what archetype they
Yeah.
fit. And talk to me about kind of like your role increasing throughout the series leading to where you are in part 1.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I was very lucky to have is that, like, as I grew in my confidence as a person and as an actor, I got to do more. You know, like, I probably couldn't handle that much when I was 11, but I got to sort of, you know, get stuff added on every season, and I felt more ready. But to me, I mean, my favorite part is that I'm just now interacting with so many actors that I wasn't before.
Yeah.
Like, up until season 5, Anthony had interacted with his family and Kenny. And then this season, I'm, like, standing in the same room as, like, you know, Peyton's characters and Jacob.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this finally feels like he's, like, fully in the show and not just this comedic relief anymore.
Right. Did you ever feel that you were kind of like the stepchild of the other actors with that different separation, not having interacted with them?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was definitely something weird, like those season 4 to 5, where all of a sudden I was like, you know, actually talking to them like adults, and no longer just the funny little kid. And so, and you know, that's not something you really experience that often because, you know, in high school you're all growing up together. But like all of a sudden I was just like a part of that, which was always something I wanted. But I'm also glad that I got the time to be the kid and get to like learn from everyone, and then now sort of be just, you know, one of the guys.
What was kind of like your favorite moment working with the cast? Like, because you've had, again, an increased role, but what was, like, having an increased role, your favorite moment that said, oh, wow, like, I'm actually a part of, like, scenes now?
Right. I think that's got to be, like, even in the first, like, the elimination montage of season 6, and all of that stuff where it was no longer novel that Anthony is in the dojo.
Yeah.
Like, season 4 is a lot of,
He has a
like,
chance.
Yeah, him starting all this stuff, but now I like that it's just like I'm part of it, you know? Like, it's no longer, the storyline isn't the fact I'm there, it's just what I'm doing there.
Yeah.
So to me, like, that elimination sequence in my fight with Dallas was really exciting for me because it was the first time it wasn't just like, Anthony's finally here. It's just like, we want to see what he does. Yeah.
Yeah, that scene, I gotta say, like, and I've been on record putting this on my TikTok when I reviewed that episode. I want to say it was episode 4, which was the elimination one, right? That was the best episode of the season for me. Like, it was incredible the way it set the stakes for everybody involved. Characters that you wouldn't necessarily think would be going to the people have been flaming me in the comments for getting this wrong because I always switch it, but hey guys, ADHD, dyslexia. Tekai Sekai? Sekai Tekai.
It's a Sekai Taikai.
Sekai Taikai.
Yeah, it's an I sound. No one's ever gotten it right. So it's fine.
Well, that makes
Everyone
me
in
feel
the
a lot
show
better.
says it differently, but I'm pretty sure that's the right way.
I'm gonna say the competition.
Yeah, the competition, the big karate fight.
The big karate fight. But it could have been so easy to just kind of say, like, these 4 characters, which is obviously, like, you know, you got Sholo, you got Jacob, you got Peyton, and everyone. Like, you know, these characters are gonna be like a part of it,
Right.
But they still play with maybe they might not be.
Right, yeah.
Maybe it could be like, you know, you. Maybe it could be Gianni or someone like
Right.
I was really invested in what was going to happen because, like I said, Cobra Kai is very good at subverting expectations.
Yeah.
And so to see you being put into that mix was really cool to see.
Yeah.
You know,
It was
so
really
like
cool to do.
So like that fight with Dallas, it was a very big moment for you. Talk to me about kind of like the filming of that scene, the choreography, like because again, you guys were really like butting heads.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
now
that
you
was.
guys are on equal
I mean, it was
footing.
really fun. First off, just because Dallas and I always wanted to have like a real fight, and we never really got to. We just got like one punch and then toilet dunking. So like that was just a big part for us, but also like that was such an ambitious episode, and we got it done, and it looked great. But like it was just such a crazy process of filming that, because there were so many small fights happening with the capture the flag and the chickens. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
So we didn't have like all the time in the world, you know.
Yeah.
Like Dallas and I had to get this down. Like the sun was setting, so we definitely it was definitely good that it was him and I because we were so invested in it. And like I wish that, you know, we got to have like the longest one, but you know, like just doing it made me happy enough, you know.
Yeah. Not to spoil anything that's coming in parts 2 and 3, but is there more of a confrontation happening between Kenny and your character? Because I feel like there is something coming.
Yeah. I don't think it's really a spoiler to say that like they have to figure their crap out.
Yes.
Before before
yeah.
everything happens, like especially now after he,
the
defecated himself. Yeah.
Defecate.
Yeah, after that moment, like there's obviously some tension between them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's no secret that they're going to have to figure that out.
Yeah, I know it's I'm pretty sure they revealed it within the season, but they did a really good job of making me go, did Anthony
right?
lax this guy? Like,
I know, because some people didn't notice, the real truth behind it, and I was like, God, I didn't do that.
Right.
Yeah, that's something messed up.
And like, I just gotta say, man, like Dallas is so good as the character of Kenny, and what gets me is that he just got to the dojo. He's already on shaky ground as it is. Like, I don't know if I want to be here. I don't know who I could trust. And then shitgate happens.
Right. I mean, that was crazy.
It's funny. Like, obviously, it's hilarious, but at the same time, you're like, shit, like this is not gonna end well. And I'm just gonna say this: that last scene in the final episode of part 1, where Tori shows up on the side of Cobra Kai, there's one spot open. There's still, because you see the
that's what someone talked to me about. I didn't notice
that.
That.
Oh, you didn't notice this?
I did. Well, because maybe I'm not smart enough to count it, but like I was looking and people were like, "Yeah, there's one more spot there," and I was like, "I don't know, man."
Yeah. So it's like the 4 guys from I want to say Japan. I want to say. And then obviously Tori walks in, but then there's one spot that doesn't get filled, and so I'm like, that's Kenny.
Oh, okay, that's where I'm getting. Okay, because
Right.
people were sending it to me, like theories that Kenny's joining Cobra Kai. I was like, I don't know where people were, but they're because they think they have evidence, and I'm like, oh, that's actually.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good. Like, I don't want to see him join because again, he just got back on the side of good,
right?
And so I'm just kind of like, dude, just get your shit, like,
right,
just get it together. But like that, I feel like that ending right there, because again, Tori also like was very much on shaky ground. She has a very much different background than a lot of the people on that show. But Kenny is like the same way, which is why I love seeing like those two characters' character journeys, and then kind of seeing how like you play off of both of them, right? I feel like there's a lot of parallels within the show of Cobra Kai where you have the mentors and the mentees, and then like the mentees also having mentees.
Yeah,
It's like a Russian doll of like.
Oh, like, yeah, because even like Robbie was sort of the mentor to Kenny, and then I think it was season 5. Wasn't Kenny getting mad at me because Robbie started mentoring me? So yeah, it's like we all have like our own sort of like Obi-Wan Kenobi figures. Yeah,
exactly. So coming into like part 2 of season 6, is there any more character relationships that we can expect from Anthony and anyone else in the dojo? Because I really like Devin and Billy Zabka's relationship. Yeah, I really love those two, and it was a surprise seeing how they bond with each other. And it feels almost like a weird, more aggressive Mr. Miyagi. And, so I'm very curious to see like what new relationship we can expect out of like Anthony and anybody else in the dojo.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what I'm looking forward to in part 2 is I got some really good stuff with Amanda Russo, like my mom. So that was just cool to me because I don't think she gets enough credit for being a good mentor. I got a few moments with her that I'm really excited about.
She's usually just kind of like commenting on everything.
and she's
like
great.
happening.
I mean, she's so funny, but like I feel like she's underrated in terms of how she can actually get crap done.
I mean, she kind of like kicks people in the ass to like she's like the one to tell people to get their shit together first.
Right. Yeah.
Right. She's like the first one to be on Daniel's ass and be like, hey, dude, like, this whole fight for the valley thing, you need to like.
Hey, you're too old for this.
You're too old for this. Right. But now it's spilling over to the kids.
Right.
But that's actually really good to hear because like I've been waiting to see like some more. Not that she hasn't been getting enough. I feel like she's a great character within the show, but you two's relationship, I feel like you've had a big relationship with Daniel, your father. And so to kind of like subvert again those expectations, and now it's the mom who's like a mentor and coming into the fold. I find that really, really interesting. Now we talked about like obviously Jacob and like his like stunt work and some injuries that like he suffered on set. Have you suffered like any injury like getting used to the fight choreography?
No, not. I've been one of the luckier ones to not have maybe as intensive stunts to do, and then therefore all these injuries. I think because I was so new to it, and at this point, especially with filming that very stressful elimination scene, like we didn't have time to do a lot of like practice. Right. So the fact that everyone is so already very sort of physically gifted, it was very helpful to feel like I'm not going to get hurt fighting Dallas.
Right.
And yeah, I've actually really been pretty lucky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody could touch him is what Griffin is saying.
That's what I'm saying. Like, come at me like you're not doing anything. But
I'm just imagining everybody on set just like, all right.
yeah, no, I probably should say
We got you.
Tanner's going to get me. Yeah.
Okay. Has there, like, what was your favorite I don't know how it goes, like, on a set, like, when a big stunt is being, like, crafted. Do they ask a lot of people not involved to leave for, like, safety reasons, or do you get to sit in and watch?
Usually you just have to be quiet. Like,
Okay.
usually it depends, I guess, the severity of it, but a lot of times if it's something intense, they'll just, like, you want the room to be dead silent in case anyone has to say something. And then
what's the energy like in there?
I mean, it depends. Like, even like season 5 was that fight at the Cobra Kai dojo, and that one was super intense because Tanner had to be doing this super big like one take fight, and then all like the extras and us in the background are all doing fights on our own. So it was so stressful to make sure that you're not getting in the way. But I think that notion of like making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to gets everyone on the right track for like the big stuff like that. And then when it's like specifically one big stunt, which I could think of one that happens a season that I won't say, it's like you're watching it happen. You know what I mean? It's like you're there at the actual fight because you're just like, I really want to see this, but I don't want to make any noise. I don't want to get kicked out. So, you just kind of feel like the audience watching it.
Okay. See, I always wonder what it's like kind of like watching those fights happen. And obviously you have to be quiet.
Right.
But these are such intense fights. I can't be quiet watching it on the couch on TV.
No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what is something like a moment that you remember watching a fight that gave you that's the biggest reaction that almost made you pipe up and go, oh shit, like that was crazy?
Okay, I have one that I can talk about, which would be again season 5 when Daniel does the crane kick of Silver into the Cobra Kai statue, and I remember it was again like a very quiet, very intense moment for Ralph to do this, and Dallas and I kind of like snuck on, and he does the kick into the Cobra Kai thing. We were like, oh, dude, that's so cool. He did it. We like couldn't say anything, but we were so excited. And then there is like a few more this season with just the competition fights, just like getting to go and watch, regardless of when your character's involved. But that's always just fun because we're just watching a stunt team do what they do best. It's awesome.
Jacob mentioned a fight in part 3. He said it's in episode 10 is what he said. And he said this fight is so huge. It makes every other fight look like a season 1 fight. Or it makes the school fight look like a season 1 fight.
I would agree, but I think there's one that I think in part 3 is better.
Really?
Only just, I guess, maybe for story purposes, I think it's better. Okay. But I definitely agree that maybe that episode 10 one is going to be the biggest we've done.
Are you a part of that one?
Yeah.
Come on, man. You got to give me something. I'm like, yo, I want to see, like, because with some of my favorite fights in the series is just listing them off, like, top of my head, the school fight in season 2. Yeah. Amazing. I was just watching that yesterday just to get myself pumped up. My favorite is season 3, the house fight.
House fight, yeah.
House fight. I believe season 4 is
It's the next All Valley?
I want to say it's the All Valley.
Yeah.
And then season 5 is the Protect the Egg at the dojo fight, which I think is like pretty awesome. Especially like between Gianni and Jacob, like beating up on I can't remember his name, but
Kyler.
Kyler.
Yeah.
Finally gets his ass handed to him by Gianni of all people, and I love that. But like, I really want to see, because I don't think you have participated in anything other than the dojo fight.
Yeah, right? The dojo fight was my first. Was that my first fight? I think it might have been.
Your first like big fight. Because before you were kind of like trying to skirt everything.
Yeah, I was just like involved like in training and stuff, but that was my first time like in a fight. Yeah,
I thought that was a big moment for your character.
Yeah,
man. Like,
no, I mean it was great, and the Protect the Egg stuff was awesome.
Yeah,
to kind of feel like they all gave Anthony that moment.
Yeah,
to do the iPad thing.
Yeah,
and, but I will say I wish in season 6. This is just the Anthony side of me, that someone was like, Anthony, thank you for that iPad move and saving us from that fight. Thank you for uploading that video. Like, no one said thank you.
No one's giving Anthony no love on that iPad thing.
Yeah, he saved the day back in season 5, and no one said anything.
No one brought it up. They're just like, thanks, dude. Rookie. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's like come on, guys. I used airdrop or something.
It's okay. Yeah, I'm hoping for some type of acknowledgement in season 6 of anything that you do, like moving on. Now, outside of like Cobra Kai, obviously, I feel that Cobra Kai is it's one of the best continuations of like an OG series, which is the Karate Kid.
Right.
Did you watch the Karate Kid before getting into Cobra Kai, or was it an after thing?
Yeah, I mean, I had seen that. Like, part of my sort of big list of movies I love came from like my grandpa when I was little, and because I was just watching like kids movies at the time, and then I go to my grandpa's house and he would show me things that were probably way too violent for like I was like 9 years old. I was like 9 years old watching Jaws, like and like
I'm still scared of
my
Jaws
little
to
brother
this
is
day.
like 14. He's like, yeah, Jaws isn't scary. I'm like, try being 9 and watching Jaws. Like that was scary. So, but my grandpa showed me like the Karate Kid and the first Back to the Future and Indiana Jones and all those movies
Good picks.
that are all like really a big part of my life now. But I think I watched the second and third movies while filming.
Okay. Let's see. Now I'm glad you said the third movie because that's the next Karate Kid. Because there's wait, no, that's 4. That's 4.
4 is the next
four's
Karate
the new
Kid.
Karate Kid.
I did not see that one.
So there's the trilogy,
three original,
and then there's the next Karate Kid,
the next
with
Karate
Hilary
Kid
Swank,
with Hilary Swank, and then there's Jaden
and then
Smith.
there's with Jackie Chan. Did you watch the next Karate Kid?
I did not see any of the two after the Ralph ones. Yeah,
gotta watch those.
Okay,
because again, I've been saying this because I feel like the Cobra Kai series has been doing a great job of bringing in actors and characters from the movies and then incorporating their stories in such an organic and amazing way. And the whole time I'm sitting here like, where's Hilary Swank?
That's what I'm thinking, right?
Like, where's Hilary Swank, man?
She's got to show up.
And I don't think I've seen like Hilary Swank like do a lot since when was the last thing that Hilary Swank?
She's got a Netflix show.
She's got a Netflix show right now.
It dropped like maybe a year and a half ago, something like that.
Well, she needs to be on another Netflix show.
She's in the Netflix family now. Yeah.
Has anybody brought that up? Like, yo, where's Hilary Swank?
I haven't seen a lot of because I guess also not knowing that movie very well. I don't know where she ends up in the end of it, but there have definitely been discussions of like trying to move her into it.
Yeah, I think honestly, and I don't want to like write the show. Obviously, the show's done now, but the whole time I was just like, why don't the other pupil of Mr. Miyagi show up to like impart like
exactly.
his
everyone's talking
teachings.
about Miyagi, but there's only really like 2 guys that know him.
That know him very, very well. And like Chosen is great. Like I love
he's awesome.
He's awesome. And I love the whole 3 sensei dynamic.
Yeah.
I want a 4 sensei dynamic with Hilary Swank.
Especially with all the kids now being on like the same dojo.
Oh,
you might as well get.
You might as well.
Yeah.
You're getting everybody together.
Exactly,
everybody has different styles. So, if there's going to be a surprise 7th season of Cobra Kai, might I suggest Hilary Swank?
Of course,
please, let's make it happen. But so you haven't seen the other 2, so that means you also haven't seen the Jackie Chan, Jaden Smith one.
No.
So. Me and Jacob were talking about this, and I've been talking about this with a lot of friends. Like, they've announced a Karate Kid movie that also has Jackie Chan in it.
Yes, it's Jackie Chan and Ralph.
Right? So, I'm thinking, is this Jackie Chan's character, Mr. Han, coming into that? Like, they're combining those universes? Is that, do you know?
I literally have no idea. I mean, I don't know if Jacob knew.
He was confused as well.
Yeah, Jacob and I are both, okay, because we talked about it. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely like I don't know. I mean, I guess there's 2 options. Either like that is Jackie Chan's character, and it's like maybe a kind of different version of Daniel.
Yeah.
Or it is the same Daniel, different version of Jackie. Like I don't really know what it is.
I don't understand because like again, Cobra Kai and Karate Kids are in the same universe, right? And so if you're gonna continue Karate Kid, and then you get Jackie Chan, who is in Karate Kid, you would think that they would just.
I mean, I think that's what they're doing. I just like, okay, I don't want to be the first to say it, but obviously Jacob kind of said it, which is that like, it's definitely not necessarily a direct connection to Cobra. So I don't know really how it's going to work. Yeah.
Okay. So, I can see that now. But I'm just trying to get y'all in a movie now.
That's what I'm saying.
Because I'm like, if Mr. Han is in it and Ralph Macchio's doing another movie, bring the Cobra Kai kids
just bring them all in, yeah.
And let's just do the biggest version of the school fight that we've ever seen. The whole valley's fighting.
Yeah, it's got to take place on like a field out.
I'm thinking like different parts of the valley, a different fight happening in a different location.
Yeah.
I think that will be the most cinematic like shit ever. And then Jaden Smith comes in to like
Jaden Smith, of course.
You know,
and then that
like,
kid. There was a bad guy in that, right?
Oh, it was. I can't remember the kid's name. I can't remember the kid or his sensei's name, but obviously he was like the evil kid.
Who now works in stunts.
Yeah, no, that kid was great.
Yeah, he was great. He was a Brandon Lee, who's new to this season of Cobra Kai, plays Quan.
Okay.
He and that kid worked together as stuntmen on Shang-Chi, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, that's what which is pretty crazy.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
See, that kid, fuck that character. Love the kid. He's not a kid now.
That kid was a jerk, dude.
That kid was a goddamn,
he was evil.
I get so invested in bullies in media.
Right,
So like
yeah.
I have a very visceral reaction seeing Jaden Smith get beat up on because he looked like he was about to kill Jaden in that movie. But but he good sport after the fact. But yeah, I just want a giant cinematic universe of
karate.
Cobra Kai and karate.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Also, have you ever, obviously you haven't seen it, but have you heard people talk how Jackie Chan's Mr. Han doesn't teach Jaden karate, he teaches him kung fu,
right?
So it's technically not the karate.
I remember
kid.
when like the trailer came out for that and being so confused
because they kept saying kung fu.
They kept saying kung fu, and it's all about kung fu. I'm like, you just called the kung fu kid at that point. Yeah,
I would be happy with that. And then like you won't have to worry about the merging. Is this in the same universe or whatever? So, but you know what? It's fine. Like I like both of those movies. Yeah. And just recently, I was at this like red carpet. It was at the Descendants Rise of Red premiere, and they played the song Justin Bieber sings in the movie, Never Say Never.
Oh yeah,
that song goes hard, bro.
I'll admit it, dude. I'm a believer.
Listen, I try really hard to fight the being a believer. Never Say Never was like what turned me around.
Okay, and just at the premiere, you just had a flashback for it?
I just had a flashback, bro. Like, I know all the words, and it's just no turning back when your heart's under attack. Like, I was just like, how do I know all the words to this? Yeah. I know all of Jaden's rap, and I'm just in my head like, Karate Kid, the 2010 Karate Kid.
Yeah, we got to bring that song back. That's the most important.
We got to bring that. Listen, if they play it at some point.
If we got Carrie Underwood, come on, we can get the rights to that song.
I'm saying, I mean, we heard it. We said it. It's happening. It's might as well it's happening. That's your camera.
Yeah, we're all looking at like, yours. Yeah,
like just like hello. But anyway, so I noticed that you talked about like some of the movies that you shouldn't have been watching as a child. Right. But I said this to Sean, who was just in here like moments before you came in, and I do this with all my guests who come in here. Like we like to talk about movies, and I like to learn about people by what movies that have kind of built them up, right? So I really want to ask you, what were those movies that created the building blocks to who Griffin is?
Right. I mean, yeah, what I already, mentioned was sort of like the foundation of it all. Yeah. But one movie that, even though looking back, I wouldn't place it in my favorite movies, was Spider-Man Homecoming. When that came out, and of course, like I'm a super like superhero sort of narc, so I don't love the way the MCU did Spider-Man, but when it first came out, and I was like, I was 11, and I was just this like chubby kid who was like obsessed with superheroes, and would always just be talking about Spider-Man to my mom. And then this movie came out, and I had already seen like the ones that were out, but for some reason, like I went to watch that 6 times in theaters. Really? And my mom brought me every time, which is great parenting.
That's great.
You know how many parents would have just been like, yeah, you
after 3, I'm just kind of like, okay. Like,
yeah, which I think I watched it 6 times. I was filming like my first ever project at the time, and I don't know, it was just the first time that I realized like a movie could really make you sort of almost more confident than you were after you saw it. Like just wanting to be Spider-Man that bad, like at that age, was really important. And then like recently, I guess more recently, it's been like the second Evil Dead movie is Evil Dead 2 is one of my favorite movies of all time. Wow. And the first Evil Dead to me though is a great representation of what low budget filmmaking can be. Yes. Like with Sam Raimi, he was sleeping in that house. Like just because like he thought someone was going to break in, actors were leaving in the middle of shooting, and it still turned out great. And then the second Evil Dead is a really great sort of subversion of expectation in a way. Yeah. Or like a subversion of genre. Yeah. Where it's like it's almost a horror movie, but then it's got this camp, but it doesn't feel out of place. Yeah, it uses comedy very, very well. Yeah, so it's just that's kind of like a really interesting movie for me to understand that there really is no like objective genre. Yeah. Everything's subjective with movies, and Sam Raimi did that really well.
See, I'm glad you brought up Sam Raimi because a movie that was the building block to who I am, Spider-Man 2. Right. Which Sam Raimi directed, and it's another Spider-Man movie.
Exactly.
That, like, just saying, Spider-Man changing lives. And I remember, I got like a funny story for you. Is for one, Spider-Man 2 is just like, obviously, it's a superhero movie. And during the time, superhero movies are kind of not being taken as seriously as they used to. Like, it's like 2002.
Yeah, you got like Blade.
You got Blade. Blade is like rated R, but people didn't know it was a superhero movie at the time. They just like, oh, it's Wesley Snipes being cool as shit, like killing vampires. But Spider-Man was just kind of, we had the animated series, and then that movie came out, and there was, oh, yeah, it was a Spider-Man movie. But Spider-Man 2 was the first movie where I said, you could take any subject matter and turn it into a story about destiny, about responsibility. Right. That's when I truly felt what with great power comes great responsibility meant. Because you have this guy who literally can't get his life together. It was my first time kind of seeing an adult struggle with being an adult.
Right, yeah.
Right, because of things that he had to do versus things that he wanted to do. And that just taught me a lot about just going through life in general.
Yeah.
Just doing things for the sake of kindness and the right thing to do. So watching that just completely like changed my entire brain chemistry. And the funny story that I had, I met both Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire 2 separate times. The first time, Sam Raimi, who directed Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness,
right?
Which movie's all right. Sorry, Sam, but
we don't have to talk about that.
I love Sam's imprint on that movie.
Yes,
and so I walked up to him, and like he's just one of those people that I have to tell him, yo, what you did, what you created literally is the reason why I'm in front of you right now.
Right, yeah.
And so I got to tell him that, and he was so nice and so kind, and he was so affectionate about what he created and so grateful that we ended up kind of hanging out throughout the entire night just talking about Spider-Man 2. And we actually talked a little bit about Spider-Man 3, which I'm not going to get into because obviously it's not the most well-received thing.
That's not his fault.
But it's
I
not
blame the studio,
I will say he did say that it's not his fault.
Yeah.
But what I will say also is that obviously I told him how Spider-Man 3, I feel like it was emotionally consistent with Spider-Man 2. Right. It was a great conversation. And then months later, the movie Babylon came out.
Right.
And Tobey Maguire has like a small cameo role in that movie. And I didn't expect to see him there because like I was at the red carpet. He passed by the press. Didn't want to talk to anybody because if you don't know, Tobey Maguire doesn't like talking to press. He's really chill and low-key guy.
Yeah.
And so I'm already expecting not to talk to him at all. I'm at the after party and like I'm eating like a bowl of candy because they had candy for everybody. And somebody who I was talking to just goes, "Is that Tobey Maguire?"
Dude.
Listen, I'm usually very tact when I go to talk to people. You don't want to bother anybody. Plus, I'm just like this guy who makes videos on TikTok. But Tobey is one of those people where I'm just kind of like, you're going to know what you mean to me, dude.
Yeah, you got to tell him.
You got to tell him. And again, respectful, I walked up to him and I was just kind of like, dude, listen, I know you're just trying to chill right now. I just need to let you know that without Spider-Man 2 and what you did with that performance, me being in front of you, doesn't happen. Like me having my job doesn't happen. Me falling in love with movies doesn't happen. And you could tell there was this moment of just like, who is this guy?
Right, yeah.
And then you see it like slowly kind of melt away. And it was like one of the best moments because he was just kind of like, oh, wow, like, thank you. And, you know, we had this really, really nice moment. He actually offered to take a picture with me, which I have that now. And I cherish it. Most people don't look at the pictures in their phones. I look at that a lot.
That'd be my screensaver, dude.
I had it as my screensaver for a hot second. And I carry that moment with me, man. Like, it's like those people don't realize that movies change how we are as people, even though we don't know it. Because that came at a time where I was just kind of like, oh, yeah, it's one of my favorite movies ever. But then I look back at it as an adult, and I'm just like, that's the reason why I got into this in the first place.
And even with like Spider-Man Homecoming, I mean, especially at the time, like I just moved to a new school and I was gone for a lot of months filming something, and I just really was not making friends, and people who were not like really liking me, and I wasn't doing anything to stop that. So you know, like those couple years, I really kind of felt like Peter Parker. Yeah. And then even now going into college, I'm like, well, I'm going to have to balance this acting thing and college. Yeah. And that's sort of that Spider-Man 2 struggle.
Yeah, see. And I listen, I think Spider-Man relates to us all, or we all relate to Spider-Man because he's an outcast, right? And, you know, that also came at a time where, like, I wasn't really making a lot of friends. It was, like, very hard for me. Right. It was the 2002. Yeah, it was the height of elementary school for me.
Okay.
And so I was getting bullied a lot. And so Spider-Man, seeing him get bullied and all that type of stuff, it just really just kind of like, yeah, that's a hero for me. So you're a superhero fan. How are you feeling about the MCU announcements that have just
So I have a lot to say about the MCU right now. I just watched Deadpool and Wolverine.
Okay. What'd you think?
Well, you know, the chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman is obviously unmatched. Yeah. You know, sort of this like irreplaceable thing, right?
Their friendship really like shines through that. Yeah.
I do think that as a really avid comic book fan, I do think they're using the multiverse as a little bit of a crutch.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
Like only because one, it's like even with the Infinity Saga, like they were slowly introducing the stones, slowly introducing these characters, and then you got to see eventually how they all come together, right? But it's like by the time No Way Home happened, I got the shtick.
Yes.
You know, and there's only so many times that, and it's like it's so fun, like seeing the cameos and stuff, but there's only so many times you can flash a cameo in front of my face, and I'm gonna be like,
it's starting to wear off.
It's just starting to wear off, and I'm like, don't you guys have like 16 more movies to do with this? Like, you could have started a little bit slower, or even like with my interpretation of like the MCU Spider-Man, the one thing that does always sort of nag at me is that it's like, I don't think Spider-Man needs to have this cosmic threat right now. Like, he could just be doing his Spider-Man stuff, which we all enjoy more.
That street level stuff,
right? And then it's like. And then Spider-Man did it, and then Doctor Strange did it, and then Deadpool's now doing it. And so it's like, and then they announced the Tony Stark Doctor Doom thing, which is a very controversial choice. You know,
I have thoughts.
I mean, if like, you know, you want to take away everything that Doctor Doom's about, that's cool. But
we'll get into that in a second, because like, you know, fuck it, I'll get into it. So I put my thoughts out. Like, obviously, in the room, in the moment. I like how you said it.
I'm really interested in this.
Let's really get into it now. In the room, in the moment, seeing Robert Downey Jr. take the mask off. Dope as hell. Like, it's oh my God, didn't expect this to happen.
Exactly, yeah.
And I'm not throwing shade to Robert Downey Jr. I am sure he's going to do a great job as Dr. Doom. I really do think that at some point they need to get another actor to put his stamp on that. But I really struggle in saying this word. It does kind of scream, we know that we're losing the people. Deadpool and Wolverine have acknowledged that. They know that they're losing the people. So not only did they get their one golden child with Robert Downey Jr. to come back as Dr. Doom, which, again, multiverse, whatever. You got your two other golden childs with the Russos. Direct coming back to direct. And it's like, let's just get back to what we know.
It's
and
a little bit of like a get out of jail free card.
It's like a get out of jail free card. Now, devil's advocate, because, again, I try to look at things from all sides. We're here now. He's doing it. And I feel like this is the only way we can, like, make this work. Is if we're set in the world, the MCU is set in a world now, where they're mourning their greatest hero, Tony Stark, right? The world hasn't gotten over it. Like, his face is plastered everywhere. There's graffiti everywhere. Okay, we get that. Imagine what that world has to deal with. Imagine what they're going through now. That its greatest villain shows up wearing the face of its greatest hero.
I think it's definitely like that same thing of like when I'm there in the theaters and I see Dr. Doom's mask come off and it's Robert Downey Jr., I'm going to think that's crazy. And I'm going to be like, that's so cool. But then just as the comic book fan, I'm like, well, I mean, we couldn't have just done a different Dr. Doom. Like, just
different Dr. Doom.
Or just, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of other ways to go with it.
What they could have done is they shouldn't have revealed him
at
Comic-Con.
Right? If I saw that in theaters, I would have been like, that's crazy.
And then you could have said like, oh, it's a variant, but then like you could have revealed the real actual going forth Doctor Doom at the end of that film.
Exactly. And also with the variants and stuff, I'm like, I feel like the sense of scale and stakes is all off in the MCU right now. Like, why do I care if all this is happening, if there's variants out there and everyone's kind of going to be... And also everyone's saving the universe, too. Like, no one's just trying to save their family or friends anymore. So, you know, I mean, I think it's a double-edged sword, where it's like, it's always fun to see these characters come back and do these big adventures, but I feel like it's a little bit of an abuse of power with the multiverse.
A little bit. I feel that the multiverse shouldn't have been an entire saga.
Yeah.
It should have been a lead-up to one Avengers film. Right? Pick your, let's say, 7 movies to roadmap into this Avengers film, and then you can have that Avengers film that was the incursion, Battle World, whatever, just to reset the table. Because the way I've been thinking was the MCU has been biding their time until they got the Fox deal down. Because the thing with the Fox deal is you have to incorporate the X-Men who haven't been in the MCU. You have to incorporate the Fantastic Four who haven't been in the MCU. The one way you could do that is an incursion. All the heroes are now from different universes in the main universe, and you just do a reset.
Exactly, yeah. But you can't even do like Battle World now till Secret Wars, but that's so far away. And then it's like, it's the same thing about it. It's like you could just start fresh with like the Fantastic Four and X-Men. But I just hope. I feel like they might find their sort of rhythm with it.
I feel like they're getting there.
It's just a little bit, disappointing just to see sometimes where it's like, I know you're just showing me this actor I wanted to see, but like nothing's really happening right now.
It is fucking cool to see.
It is, dude. I love it. Yeah,
they're spoiling it themselves now. Like,
I think they're all out.
They're all out. It's really cool to see like Wesley Snipes come back.
Wesley Snipes, that one got me. I didn't know. I got Gambit spoiled, I think, and then I kind of knew Elektra was going to be there.
Yeah, I knew Elektra.
But then I thought that was it. I thought it was just them two, and then Wesley Snipes walked out, and I was like, okay, you guys win. You got it.
I saw that in New York at the premiere. Hopped out my seat.
Yeah,
hopped out my seat when I saw Wesley Snipes show up because
you gotta
like Channing Tatum. I have not half expected. I want to say like 20% expected. It was like a would it be cool if Channing Tatum like had a chance to play Gambit. And so when he showed up, it was more of like a they fucking did it.
Right. I didn't think they were gonna do that.
I didn't think they were gonna like really pull that off. But Wesley Snipes was not on my bingo card.
I had no idea. I totally like obviously love those films, but I just never really thought he would even want to come back. And then he did, and I was like, dude, that's so sick. But yeah, I mean, it was a great, fun movie.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just, and also, the more nerdy I get about it, the more it doesn't make sense because I'm like, well, if this is the multiverse, we have a multiverse in the comics, and we have a multiverse in. And
I don't think they agree with each other.
And they have the multiverse in like the Sony world with Into the Spider-Verse.
Yep.
And each are implying that the others exist. Because so like
Spider-Verse
is putting in Tobey Maguire, right?
Andrew,
and then we know they're in the MCU, and then we're doing all this, but none of them would actually line up with each other.
Yeah.
Unless you're really giving into the like I guess infiniteness of it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't super line up.
Can I say something? I had very high hopes for Madam Web like being the center of not the movie, like not the movie, not the quality of the film of Madam Web. Right. I saw so many people just go, what? But no, not the. I had high hopes for Madam Web. Let me finish. Being like the center point of the multiverse,
right, which is the purpose that she serves.
Which is the purpose that she serves. She sits at the center of the Spider-Verse,
right?
And she is kind of the touch point that all the Spider people go to. That like say like, okay, she's the touch point, and then we branch off into our own little things.
Yeah,
and I feel. Again, we've gotten so many multiversal stories in just media in general, like Everything Everywhere All at Once is like
now other things are incorporated.
Right, everybody's doing it, but you know, Spider-Verse and Everything Everywhere has done it best. But in terms of superhero movies, I feel like the MCU has kind of gotten this. We don't need to take cues from them because we're the MCU. They should have taken their cues from Spider-Verse. Like you have your Spider-Man, he's referenced in those movies. Collaborate with Sony and say this is where it starts. This is what we can reference.
Right, yeah.
But instead, like, for instance, in Spider-Verse, Miguel says Earth 199999.
Right, and he refers to No Way Home. But, and then that's clearly not the Miguel from the comics because he's just not that person. But then they also imply that comics exist and this has never happened. And then PS4 Spider-Man's there. Like, it's just like all this stuff where it's like now I just feel like Spider-Man's, like, it's just like selling toys. You know what I mean? It's just
at that
not
point.
Super exciting anymore.
Yeah.
But even with just something like what they're doing with Miles Morales is that it's like, yeah, it's a multiverse story, but he's just trying to save his dad.
Yes.
You know, it's not like
he want to do his own thing.
And then we have the anchor beings and the canon events and all this stuff. It's like, it seems like the multiverse is pretty unstable.
I really don't want to like, and I'm being very clear. I'm not talking shit. I'm just confused.
Yeah.
Like, because the idea of the anchor beings, I don't know if I wasn't paying attention for like 5 seconds.
Right.
But I started getting a lot of comments of people saying, who do you think the anchor being is? And I kept going, what the fuck is an anchor being?
Right.
Because I was like, are they talking about the Nexus being? Because there's Nexus beings too. And I'm like, what's the difference between an anchor being, a Nexus being?
Right.
And as I understand it, the anchor being is like the most important person in the universe that it all hinges off of.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense for it to be like Hugh Jackman in that universe.
Yeah,
but then it's like he died. But he died in the future of Deadpool's universe, so why is it now? You know what I mean? Like, there's obviously a lot of questions with that.
It's so many questions, and I feel like, and I did this whole TikTok where I was I found out like where we kind of like went wrong, and you know, you look at the Infinity Saga, and you had like, okay, phase 1 of the Infinity Saga, you had like the setup of the original Avengers, Avengers get together, then you have the fallout of that. While introducing like Guardians of the Galaxy and the Stones and Thanos, and you knew that the Stones and Thanos at the end of the line were gonna be what all these characters were going to be up against.
Yeah.
You get to where we got the phase 4, Shang-Chi, Black Widow, which will only serve to do Florence Pugh. Yeah, everybody's looking at me like, what? So Shang-Chi, Harry Styles is here.
Oh yeah, he's there.
He's there for some reason.
Dude,
Harry Styles is in this universe.
And then we have Black Knight from Eternals.
We have Black Knight from Eternals.
We have all the Eternals.
We have Blade's voice in the Eternals too.
We have Blade's voice.
We have Blade's voice.
We have Moon Knight.
We have Moon Knight for
Werewolf
some reason.
by Night. Yeah.
We have She-Hulk, who just is kind of like,
she's cool. She's around.
She's around. She's doing her thing. And then like Echo.
And then we got Echo and Daredevil's coming back, which I'm happy about because that's one of my favorite TV shows.
But. But the main villain, he's not the main villain anymore, but the main villain that they were trying to set up has only been teased and or appeared in maybe like 3 of the, I want to say like 15 movies since Endgame.
Yeah.
Like, Quantumania,
Right.
Loki.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
So I'm like, even now that he's not the main villain anymore, it doesn't even feel like that's a big change up.
It's
He
not.
doesn't feel like the main villain. yet.
He feels like, you remember how the MCU had this thing where they would kill off every villain that would like show up except for Thanos?
Yeah.
Like there wasn't a reoccurring villain. That's what Kang feels like, where he just showed up, killed him off, and they were just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
But he was supposed to be the big bad.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is also just making me curious to see what ends up happening with the DC universe right now with James Gunn.
Listen,
Where
DC
it's
Universe is like...
Because it also seems like they're just doing the simple stories. But even like with something like Superman, like that just seems like a classic Superman story, which who doesn't
That's
want
what
that?
I love.
You
That's
know?
what I love.
And then, you know, I mean, obviously, like they have a big plate in front of them. So it's like, it's a pretty ambitious.
I feel like they're
move.
playing with house money now. I
Yeah,
feel like,
yeah,
you know, and fingers crossed and praying to God Almighty that Sholo is coming back as Blue Beetle. Like he needs to. Like I think he needs an extra shot at that. But they've said that this is now the start of the new DC universe,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The Superman movie, which everything should start and end with Superman. It makes sense.
Always, yeah.
But I feel like they're playing with house money now because they're starting with a very simple story, a very solo story. They're not trying. I mean, there is other characters in the Superman story. There's Mr. Fantastic. There's Guy Gardner, Green Lantern.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Guy Gardner, Hot Girl, Mr. Terrific.
Mr. Terrific. But it doesn't feel, even with all these characters, I really hope they're used in a way to fill out the universe, not necessarily do what Batman v Superman did, where it's just, let's just smash things together and make it a big colossal event.
Yeah.
So I really do feel like this DC the way it, like depicted the multiverse was weird. Like he
all
was
the
he was at the
orbs.
center
Yeah,
of the
all the
orbs.
orbs
It
everywhere,
was
and the
just like
orbs
he
are
was in
dying.
a in the round type of.
Yeah, that was.
It was
that
the
weird.
weirdest way
But
to-
if it didn't do that multiverse stuff, it actually had a very I just like the Flashpoint storyline.
I love the Flashpoint
Yeah.
storyline, and I just like landing in a new universe. The world is screwed. How do I get back? You don't need to show me
Yeah.
all these other multiversal
And I love seeing
things.
Keaton like that. That didn't.
That's dope, and
That's
that's a cool way to say goodbye to a character
Right.
while like bringing them back for just a little bit. But with the Flash, I was really hoping that it would be what the Flashpoint Paradox was to the DC universe, where they did the Flashpoint Paradox and then it moved into the New 52, where the result of what he did in Flash created this whole new reset where readers could jump in and start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Obviously, they were already taking cues from the New 52 with like the way characters look and act and stuff like that. So I think they should have did like what Rebirth did, which I don't know if like you're up on like the DC.
I was gonna no, I got it.
Yeah.
Because then they did New Frontier after Rebirth.
Yeah. So like maybe you could have like, I don't know, skip Rebirth and go straight to New Frontier. Either way, Flashpoint sort of reset the whole DC Universe movie thing, and then they could have like touched off of there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Instead, they said, "Oh, let's do Black Adam.
Oh,
Shazam
right.
let's do Shazam.
Right, yeah.
Fury of the Gods.
That was
Let's do
cool.
another. Let's continue Aquaman for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing that the comics have, and then it's like I feel like it's weird when movies are trying to create when you make these big universes and they sort of act like the comic book universe. Then do it like there's nothing wrong with doing resets and
they do it
doing
all
other
the
stuff
time.
like they do. I mean, Marvel doesn't do it as much as DC. In
Yeah,
the comics, which,
I think Marvel prioritizes like big events. Like there's always a big event happening,
which is always fun. And then DC's got like you got the pre-crisis, post-crisis, all that stuff, which is great.
I mean, Doomsday Clock was fucking dope.
Yeah,
like Doomsday.
They could have done that.
They could have done that. Like,
I mean, there's just a lot of potential, but I just feel like they need to cast me in one of them, and then we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Okay, so that just brings me to my next question. Like, if you could like be cast in a superhero film, what do you think?
It's got to be DC wise. I know they're making a Teen Titans movie, so I would love to be a Robin of sorts.
Okay, any particular one?
I mean, Dick Grayson's my favorite.
Dick Grayson's,
I just don't know how old, because I know now they're going comic book accurate, so I don't know if they want like an actual 12-year-old to be Dick Grayson, but hopefully, or I think they're doing Damian Wayne.
Okay,
right? So
yeah.
Hopefully that means they'll have an older Dick Grayson. And then, obviously, I mean, if they do reset or something, but like I said, I have that big connection to Spider-Man just my whole life. So
I think
that
you would make
be,
I think you would make a great Dick or Damien.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. You would have to be more of an asshole. You're a really
probably.
Nice
I don't
guy.
think I could be Damien, but I definitely think I could be Dick.
Yeah, okay, yeah, Dick, without being a dick.
Right.
And then like Marvel wise, what are you thinking?
I mean, that's got to be Spider-Man if it ever comes around again and they do someone else. I think Spider-Man's really good. I don't know if they have a Wiccan yet.
Oh no.
I mean, who doesn't want to be? Yeah,
come on, that would have been really dope. People ask me all the time, like, who would I be in a Marvel movie? And I'm not an actor, but they always say, "Oh, if you could be in a Marvel movie,
right.
you talk about it enough." I'm like, Human Torch. Like, I think I could be a Human Torch.
That would be sick, dude.
Like, one, I get to say "Flame on." I get to see what I look like.
Best catchphrase.
Best one of the best catchphrases like ever. I could get in the footsteps of Michael B. Jordan.
Of course, right? Yeah.
I got people laughing. She tried to laugh at me, but she couldn't. Ha ha. And then also like, I don't know. It's just something about that character where he's just so joyful and so endlessly charming and like charismatic. And it will be an opportunity where I won't have to act as much. I think it'll be the easiest role for me to take because I can just be
so charming.
I can just be so charming. Like I was gonna say charismatic, but just be like, I'm just being myself. I don't know how like thirsty I can make people, but
right. I mean, it's fine. I don't know who is it now? It's Joseph Quinn.
Joseph Quinn, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about that casting? Like
I think that's great.
Cast, right?
Yeah, I saw the leaked trailer for that. I don't know if you saw that, but, or maybe you were there.
I was not there. I did see the leaked trailer though.
Yeah, I mean, it looks actually really cool. I mean, and again, that's a different universe, but hopefully that just remains in its own universe for now.
Yeah,
like. Hopefully it's not just about crossing over. I hope.
Hopefully.
But I think Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby and all those people are really gonna kill it.
So when that casting came out, I have two things to say. One is I really liked two off rip. I was like, that's perfect, and that's Vanessa Kirby and what's dude from the Bear.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of his name.
It's something I want to say like bad back. It's something with a back in it.
Evan Moss.
Evan Moss.
Richardson?
Something. It's Evan Moss.
Two more names.
Yeah, two more names.
Yeah.
Dude from the Bear. But I was like, that's perfect. Like,
yeah, he's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal, like, I'm at the point now where I will not bet against him at all. He can do anything. He's not someone I envisioned as a Mr. Fantastic initially. But again, they got one of the best guys in the business to do it, so I have full trust. And then Joseph Quinn was not someone I 100% expected because he is such a chameleon in a lot of his roles. I saw the trailer for Gladiator 2 at CinemaCon, and he has a really big part in it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, he's way different than Eddie from Stranger Things.
Did you see him in Quiet Place?
Quiet Place, way different, right? So he's one of those other actors where I say he's such a chameleon where I could kind of see him turning that on and like.
Yeah, I think that could be really cool.
I think that could be like really, really dope. The second thing I want to say, and I've never said this on camera, this will be my first time telling you this. I met Vanessa Kirby on a plane once. We were both sitting in first class. She was right next to me, and we were both heading to New York to do a Mission Impossible thing. She was in Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise. Yeah. And so I was really tired. I can't remember what I was doing that night, but I remember like just saying, as soon as I get on this plane, I'm knocking out. Like I'm not even letting the plane take off. And so I look at her, she looks at me, and I kind of give her this, is that?
Right.
Probably not. And like I went to sleep, right? I wake up, we landed. So I've been knocked out the whole flight. She's up and she's like getting her shit together, and she looks at me and says, "Oh, you've been knocked out for a while, the whole flight." I say, "Yeah, I had a long night." Whatever. And so we start talking. She let slip that she was the Invisible Woman.
No way.
She absolutely let slip that she was her. Now, it wasn't, I'm not going to say it was her fault 100%. My publicist, I think he heard tell some way. My publicist is a big gossiper. You know him. Big gossiper, and he can't help himself, so he would just kind of she says something about like fans and going somewhere, and he said, oh, well, you have like a lot of experience like dealing with a bunch of fans, I bet you're gonna deal with it a lot now. And she says, yeah, you know, like it was just really weird, like, but you know, they're really nice. I'm really anticipating like what they know about like the character, and like at this point, we're just letting her go. And then she mentions Kevin Feige's name and how, like, what comic she's reading up on and this and that.
Whoa.
And I'm looking at him and he's looking at me and we're like, is she confirming that she's Invisible Woman right now? And she says, yeah, like, I really just can't wait to screen test and da-da-da. I was just like,
Nice,
cool.
Yeah.
And I held on to that till like well after casting.
Well, that's good.
Because I'm just like, this information I had in my head, just like I could never tell anyone that she's
dude.
like.
If you were like a Redditor, dude, she'd be done. Yeah.
So I had to like pretend to be like super surprised when the announcement came out. I was like, whoa, Vanessa Kirby. But I'm like, she kind of told me herself.
Well, that's good though. At least you knew. Yeah.
At least I knew. I feel it's safe to say now, and I kept the secret, and it's out. So you can trust Vanessa, guys. She didn't tell anyone else. I don't think. But yeah. So anyway, I feel like we've talked about. I could talk about the MCU like in
all
length.
day. Yeah.
We talked a little bit off camera about like your lack of knowledge on the anime front.
Right.
But we talked a little bit about My Hero, and I really want to put you onto that. I think that should be like the first thing you should watch. Given your love for superheroes and things of that sort. It's very Sky High, very X-Men, very, you know, kids go to school, learn about like being superheroes, all that stuff. But two characters, and I made this TikTok literally today, remind me of two of your co-stars, Gianni and Jacob. They remind me of their characters in Cobra Kai.
Oh, okay.
So you've probably seen them, but the main character in My Hero is Midoriya.
Yeah. My little brother's into it, so I'm trying to remember. That's like the kid. There's All Might, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And that's the kid who has some of his power.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, like Midoriya is like the character who doesn't. He's born in a world with quirks, but he doesn't have a quirk. He has no powers.
Right.
And then he gets the power. So he's very like wimpy. He has to learn how to like control his power, things like that. And then one of his childhood friends, Bakugo, the very violent, like loud one, you know, he's like, oh yeah, I'm the shit. Da 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 da. I'm like, who does this remind me of? I was like introducing my daughter to it. I was like, who the fuck? And then I started rewatching Cobra Kai, and I was like, this is Hawk and Dimitri.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And like so, and like their arcs are like pretty much the same, all the way down to like Bakugo calls Midoriya a damn nerd so many times. And so there's a moment in season 2 where Jacob's like looking for Gianni, and he's like, I figured you hired the computer lab, you damn nerd. And I'm just like, wait a minute, this is so visceral.
Dude, you gotta get him cast.
And Jacob said that he wants to like start voicing anime. Have you heard his anime voice?
Yes, yeah.
It's so good.
I've heard it ad nauseum.
It's he's really trying to get those roles. He's really
he's
trying.
Great though, yeah.
And I'm like, if they ever do a live action My Hero, I want Jacob to play Bakugo. And
absolutely,
and I think Gianni's like a little too tall to be Midoriya now. But if they want to, I think like those would be my top 2 casting choices to play Midoriya and Bakugo.
That's cool.
Because I feel like they've already played the character. There's even a scene in that school fight where Gianni first like counters Hawk.
Jacob. Yeah.
And so it's so funny when he first counters him. There's literally a move like that where Bakugo and Midoriya fight for the first time, and he counters him, and it's the same shit. I'm just like, I kid you not. And I'm just like, did the big 3 just like do some like My Hero stuff?
Maybe.
I love that.
Maybe they're fans.
And I love that. So like, I feel like we should, as a collective, get these two in a live action My Hero if this happens. But anyway, but yeah, man. So if you could get into anime, My Hero, One Piece, obviously, like it's long as shit, but it's very rewarding. Attack on Titan is always a great one to watch.
Yes, I did watch Attack on Titan.
Oh, really?
I don't think I got to the last season. I think I waited too long in between seasons, and then I was super confused.
Can I tell you something? It's not your fault.
Okay.
It's not your fault. Like, they milked that last season.
Okay, yeah, I think I remember, like, just not knowing what the hell was going on by the end.
Like, what Cobra Kai is doing with, like, part 1, 2, and 3 makes sense. Yeah. Like, you know, Stranger Things did it. It makes sense. It really built out a lot of, like, conversation. Attack on Titan was really starting to get disrespectful with their parts. They were like, season 4, part 2, part 3. It was like parts to parts. Yeah. Like, I said, what are y'all doing? And then in those parts, it was like 6 month, 7 month gaps.
Oh. Yeah, you can't do
within
that,
it.
guys.
So
Come
it was
on.
like they'll
Come on.
release like 4 episodes here and then a 6-month gap. And then you're just like, what's happening?
Yeah. Okay, that must have been where I got confused because I kept coming back and forth and being like, I don't know where we are in the show.
It was hard to like really keep track of. I remember binging it last year, and then I got all the way up to season 4, and then I was like, okay, like I'm all caught up. And then I watched the first like 3 episodes, and then they went on break. And that break lasted 6 months.
Right.
And then they brought it back. I watched those 2 episodes, and then they went on break. And then I said, you know what? I'll just finish it when season 4 is done.
Right.
And it took another like year and a half,
Dude.
for them to finish it. And I have yet to finish season 4 because I'm just like,
Okay.
they say it's done.
At least it's not my fault.
But
That's all I'm looking at. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not your fault, man.
Okay, cool.
And I'm trying to figure out if there's one more anime we should put them on to before we get out of here. I know you know the anime. Like I'm just saying, like you're just.
I don't agree that you're giving him My Hero Academia to watch, but all right.
What? You know what? We're gonna offline that.
Yeah.
We're gonna offline that one. Jesus, like My Hero is dope. Okay,
Solo
gosh.
Leveling.
Solo. I haven't watched Solo Leveling.
It's a Korean manhwa. It's that Crunchyroll adapted. It's another like superhero type.
Yeah.
Weak guy suddenly gets powers. Strong as hell.
Okay.
Really popular.
We'll both watch that.
Okay, yeah, we'll start
both
that.
get that one. And last question I have for you: have you ever been to like any of the like convention? Have you been on the convention circuit?
No, I haven't.
Dude, you will love
It's
it.
an untapped thing for me. I really want to.
will
I
love
met the Comic-Con guy for Cobra. That's just what we call him.
Okay, the
This one
Comic-Con
guy is just
guy.
the Comic-Con guy.
Okay.
And I met him for the first time. And he's from Connecticut, so we got along. So I was just talking to him about stuff like that. But yeah, I totally want to. I just haven't really gotten around to it.
Dude, it's like I started seriously going to cons maybe like 3-4 years ago.
Mhm.
It's so fun, like to be surrounded
Yeah,
by
yeah,
just
it
a
seems
bunch of
really
like
cool.
like one comic book fans, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
you know.
I've been close to going as a fan before I was going as a,
You should totally go.
person.
You'll
Yeah,
get
yeah.
swarmed. Like I feel like you'll get swarmed when you go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need a person.
I'll have to be in cosplay.
Yeah,
I'll have
no.
to be totally disguised.
Do it. Like me, like, and this is like my toxic trait
Right.
is I get swarmed, and I need to go places,
Right.
but I like getting swarmed.
Okay. Yeah.
Like right, like I love talking to people. Like
Yeah.
I will stop and talk to anybody for like 5 minutes, and even though I have to be somewhere,
Right, it's not
I'm
very
just-
pragmatic,
It's
yeah.
not at all. But I don't like being the bad guy. Be like, oh, I gotta go.
Yeah, it's hard.
So I'm just kind of like, I'll talk to you. It's a whole thing. But
Okay.
I love going to cons, man. Like the most recent one was San Diego, right? San Diego Comic Con was like the
Yeah.
biggest one. That one was a madhouse because it was the first one after the strike.
Right.
And
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
like the strike last year's one was very toned down because they couldn't have a lot of the big studios there.
Right.
Actors couldn't be there. So it felt a lot like what San Diego Comic-Con used to be. But now this one was like, oh, we're back. Everyone
Right.
has to make an impression. Marvel came back and forth. Like all the panels were like insane. Like the cosplays were insane. The floor was insane. Like everything about it was just insane. But I would highly recommend going to. You said you're in Connecticut,
Yeah.
so you're on the East Coast.
Yeah, I got
So
New York
New York
Comic-Con.
Comic Con is a great one. Anime NYC is coming up at the end of the month, but yeah. So
But you'll be starting school.
Yeah, I already moved
yeah,
in.
I mean, just tell your friends like, hey, I'm going to this convention.
Yeah.
Like,
What do I
afterwards,
tell my
but-
professors?
Yeah, just let them know. But yeah, so I would highly recommend you go to a convention. Like,
Okay, yeah,
either as
yeah.
a fan, either as like to meet people, do a meet and greet or whatever,
Right.
bro. It's like one of the best experiences ever.
Yeah, I definitely on the bucket list. For
Yeah,
sure.
and then the after parties are great too.
Yeah, they gotta
Like,
be, right?
like,
Yeah.
dude, it's like just people in cosplay, just like
That's
geeky
cool, yeah.
people. Like I went to where was this one? Was it not VidCon? Was it VidCon? No, Anime Expo. It was the Anime Expo party. That edit, she's like the edit. So they had a bunch of like DJs, and like this one DJ set was like absolutely insane because all they did was play classic theme songs, anime intros,
To the Pokemon theme song.
mosh pits to Pokemon theme songs.
It's something I've never seen in my life
And it's
before,
Team
but
San
yeah.
Diego theme song.
Oh well, you got a mosh to it.
Like you got it, like it was one of the most surreal, like awesome moments
Right,
ever.
yeah.
And so, and I was like on stage the whole time, just like, again, like I'm like rambling at this point, but man, like if you can get to a con,
Yeah, I definitely will. Yeah.
absolutely go. But dude, thank you so much for
Yeah,
coming
thank you so
on,
much
bro.
for having me. This is awesome,
absolutely
yeah.
great. Seriously,
Yeah, dude.
we gotta do this again sometime.
Yeah, of course. This was so much fun. I
Yep.
was so excited to come on and actually be able to like just talk about Marvel. So
And
I'm glad we got to it.
did
Yeah.
that ad nauseum. So
Yep.
once what's the next Marvel thing coming out? Thunderbolts? It's either Thunderbolts or Cap.
Oh, it's got to be Caps because that's
Is
the
it
only
Cap?
one with the
Is it
trailer.
Cap?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they released a trailer to that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
So after Cap, we gotta come back on.
Of
and,
course,
like,
yeah.
talk about
How
those
funny to
things.
say about that. Yeah.
Danny is a buddy of mine who plays the Falcon.
Mhm.
And so I'm really excited to like talk to him.
Oh
about,
yeah,
like,
that's sick.
You have no idea. Like anyway,
Right.
I'm rambling again. All right, this is my boy Griffin Santopeitro, and make sure you guys watch part 2 of Cobra Kai.
Right.
Is there anything else you want to plug, my guy? Your
show,
your Instagram.
I'll just plug my Instagram, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just Griffin Santopeitro. It's just my name, nothing fancy. A little underscore in between it. Yeah, that's kind of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you know you've made it, when you can just put your name as your Instagram, and it's not taken.
Yeah, I got it done early though. You know.
Okay, so there you go. So, yeah. Verified and everything, my man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, dude. This is awesome.
And thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure you guys hit the like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell to get notifications for other videos, as well as this podcast. You can watch it on Spotify, Apple, wherever you watch podcasts. And I'll see you next time when we talk about the next movie.